officer at TPUSA who secures all of the Jewish donors that Charlie Kirk was refusing to align with. His Mormon mission took him to Russia, at which point he developed ties to these shady Ukrainian orphanages.
They steal like 86,000 kids from Romania and they send it to UK, Israel.
But just know that nothing is by mistake. Nothing.
Charlie Tyler was hooking up with young interns, young male interns, or young male workers, and he didn't even care. He's like, I will go on record because all of this happened, and I had the proof that all of this happened, and everybody knows about Tyler Bowyer at Turning Point USA. It's like,
this isn't about one trip to Romania. This isn't about one charity. And this definitely isn't about one coincidental meeting at an airport. This is about how power, politics, money, and unregulated charity work intersect in the darkest possible ways. Because when you zoom out and stop looking at these names in isolation, what you start seeing isn't random noise. It's a pattern, a repeating cycle, the same people, the same countries, the same vulnerable populations, and the same unanswered questions that everyone seems terrified to ask out loud. Let's slow this down and walk it forward carefully. Because what Candace Owens did wasn't just drop a spreadsheet. She forced people to look at timelines instead of talking points. And timelines don't lie. They don't care about reputations. They don't care about political teams. They just show you who was where, when, and with whom. Start with the orphanages. Romania post-Cold War was flooded with foreign NGOs. The country was poor, systems were broken. Children were institutionalized at massive scale, and that opened the door for foreign helpers, missionaries, military-adjacent charities, Western non-profits with vague oversight and even vaguer accountability. That's where the Romanian Angels Project comes in. On paper, it was about helping orphans. On paper, it worked with the Romanian military to provide aid. On paper, it was noble. But then you introduce Colonel Otto Buscher, a colonel who, according to legal filings in Romania, was later accused of running a brothel involving minors on a military base. A colonel directly connected to the same institutions that were supposedly protecting these children. And that's not rumor, that's documented accusation. A woman came forward, she filed reports. She said children were being taken onto the base. She said the system itself was complicit. And here's the thing people keep glossing over. You don't accidentally partner with someone like that. You don't just miss something that big unless no one is really looking. Now add Erika Kirk. Erika and her mother, Laurie Fawns, aren't random names here. Laurie established the Everyday Heroes Foundation in Arizona. That foundation becomes the launchpad. From there, the Romanian Angels Project spins out. Same players, same mission statement language, same pipeline. And all of this is happening while thousands of Romanian children are disappearing from official records. Not dozens, not hundreds. Thousands. Romanian locals have been saying this for years, long before social media influencers ever touched the story. Children taken out of the country through adoption systems, humanitarian corridors, military-linked charities, sent to the UK, Israel, other Western nations, with no clear tracking of where they ended up. And when you ask too many questions, the answers stop coming. Now here, where it gets uncomfortable. Because for a long time, the public narrative tried to isolate Erika, make her the story, make her the scandal, make her the lone thread. But she wasn't alone. Enter Tyler Bowyer. Tyler Bowyer didn't just randomly appear later in the story. He was there early, very early. 2011. That's the year that keeps popping up. According to Candace Owens, Tyler travelled to Romania that same year. Officially, it was to work with the Romanian government. Charity adjacent, humanitarian adjacent, the usual language. But here, the problem. Nobody can clearly explain what he actually did there. No transparent reports, no detailed project outcomes, no follow-up documentation that matches the seriousness of the work claimed. And this isn't the only time Tyler's name shows up around orphanages overseas. There are allegations, again, allegations, from insiders that he was involved with orphanage-related operations in Ukraine as well. That he posted about helping Russian-speaking orphans years ago. That his involvement with vulnerable youth wasn't limited to one country. And then there are the other allegations, the ones people get very quiet about. Claims from insiders that Tyler was hooking up with young male interns, that he abused his power within TPUSA, that boundaries were crossed behind closed doors while the public-facing brand stayed clean and patriotic.
Tyler was hooking up with young interns, young male interns, or young male workers, and he didn't even care. He's like, I would go on record because all of this happened, and I had the proof that all of this happened, and everybody knows about Tyler Bowyer at Turning Point USA. It's like an absurdity. But this is the person that is putting people into places of power at Turning Point USA.
Now pause here, because even if you strip away half of these claims, what you're left with is still disturbing. The same individual, connected to orphanages in multiple foreign countries, working in environments with minimal oversight, rising rapidly inside a powerful political organization, later implicated in election fraud as a fake elector, and eventually pardoned by a sitting president. That alone should trigger scrutiny. And yet it didn't. Tyler flew under the radar. Why? Because while everyone was focused on Charlie Kirk as the face, Tyler was operating as the infrastructure. The logistics, the operations, the money flow. Chief Operating Officer. The guy who knows where the bodies are buried, not literally but financially. And this is where the story shifts. Because by all insider accounts, Charlie Kirk wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was young, he was ideological, he trusted people around him, he delegated. For a long time that worked. Until it didn't. In the months leading up to his death, something changed. Numbers weren't lining up. Financial transactions didn't make sense. Cash burn was accelerating without clear justification. And Charlie started asking questions. He sent a memo, a serious one, calling for an internal audit, a Doge-style review, follow every dollar, trace the money, slow the bleeding. According to insiders, he planned to demote Tyler, strip power, reassign control. And then 8 days later, Charlie was assassinated. Let that sit. No conclusions, no accusations. Just the timeline. Because in true crime, timelines matter more than opinions. After Charlie's death, the audit never happened. And when people asked Tyler about it publicly, his answers were evasive, long-winded, defensive. He dismissed concerns as fake news. He pointed to routine audits that didn't actually address the specific issues Charlie raised. But there was one question he couldn't dodge forever. The money. According to an investigative report, Tyler went from financial collapse to extreme wealth in a very short period of time. In 2011, he was losing condos to foreclosure, divorced, broke. Fast forward a few years, and he's putting down $650,000 in cash on a $1.95 million property in Mesa, Arizona. An urban farm mansion. Cash. No clear public explanation for how that turnaround happened. And remember, 2011 is the same year he traveled to Romania. Again, no accusations. But patterns don't care about disclaimers. Now stack that next to everything else. Romania, orphans, military-linked charities, Ukraine, intern allegations, election fraud, presidential pardon, sudden wealth, internal audits blocked, a leader who started asking questions and was killed days later. At what point do coincidences stop being coincidences? At what point does skepticism become responsibility? Because the most dangerous thing about this story isn't that it's shocking. It's that it's familiar. We've seen this before. Powerful people embedding themselves around vulnerable populations under the banner of charity, operating across borders where oversight is weak, using politics as armor, using ideology as cover, and relying on the fact that questioning them gets you labeled as crazy, conspiratorial, or disloyal. And that's why this story matters. Not because of one name, not because of one organization, but because of the system that allows this to happen over and over again. Children don't vanish into thin air. Money doesn't materialize without a source. And people don't keep showing up in the same dark corners of history by accident. Candace Owens didn't invent this story. She just connected dots that were already there. And now the question isn't whether people feel uncomfortable. The question is whether anyone with real authority is willing to investigate further. Because if even half of this holds up under scrutiny, then this isn't just a scandal. It's a warning. And warnings ignored tend to repeat themselves at a much higher cost.